The Israeli military has intercepted a boat carrying activists on their way to Gaza. The UK-flagged civilian vessel was boarded while it was in international waters. Israeli quadcopters surrounded the vessel. These are pictures from the moment activists on board were told to take cover. Climate campaigner Greta Thunberg and 11 other activists were on board before communications were cut. The group was aiming to break Israel's siege on the Strip, a blockade that's illegal under international law. This is the moment the activists on board the Madeleine ship were surrounded by Israeli authorities.
We're being boarded right now. We're being intercepted right now.
Please, everyone.
أخبرونا بأن نرفع أيدينا في هذه اللحظات حتى
added to the long list of war crimes that Israel has been committing.
We are being intercepted right now. We have one IOF people coming our way. Everyone here is safe. No one is wounded right now.
الجميع لحد الآن لم يتعرض إلى إصابة. حافظوا على مواقعكم.
Please raise the alarm.
من فضلكم ارفعوا أيديكم.
Okay, we are being intercepted right now.
قالوا لنا وطلبوا منا.
I can manage to throw in the water. I have both my hands. They are here to intercept us.
Okay, everyone. Phones need to go. Phones need to go. Please. Toss it in the water.
أخبرونا بأنه مع السلامة مشاهدينا.
Well, before the boat was intercepted, activists recorded messages urging their governments to act. One of them was the Swedish activist Greta Thunberg.
My name is Greta Thunberg and I am from Sweden. If you see this video, we have been intercepted and kidnapped in international waters by the Israeli occupational forces or forces that support Israel. I urge all my friends, family and comrades to put pressure on the Swedish government to release me and the others as soon as possible.
And just before the ship was boarded, an Israeli Navy spokesperson had this message for the crew of the Madeleine.
The maritime zone of the coast of Gaza is closed to naval traffic as part of a legal naval blockade. If you wish to deliver humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip, you are able to do so through the port of Ashdod via the established channels and distribution centers.
Huwaida Araf is the co-founder of International Solidarity Movement and the Freedom Flotilla organizer, and she's live for us, joining us live from Sicily. Huwaida, great to have you with us. Thank you. When was the last time you heard from the boat?
Our last interaction with the boat was approximately 2 hours ago now. We had been watching and in communication with them as they had been approached by what we believed were Israeli vessels, and then the Israeli vessels sailed away from them, but then they sent drones that were overhead drones, and then what we believe are quadcopters. One of them released some kind of chemical onto the boat, and then shortly thereafter, the Madeleine, the entire Madeleine, was surrounded by Israeli forces, and we lost communication just as it looked like the Israeli forces, the commandos, were taking over the vessel.
So one imagines that they've all those on board have been taken captive.
All those on board have been abducted. They have been taken against their will while they were sailing peacefully and lawfully in international waters. They were in international waters sailing towards Palestinian territorial waters, not getting near Israeli waters. So it needs to be made very clear that Israel has absolutely no jurisdiction, no lawful authority to take over this vessel, to intercept in any way, and to use any kind of force in its interception. What Israel is doing, as what it did to the Madeleine, just like what it's doing in Gaza and the rest of the occupied territories, is blatantly illegal. And the fact that now we have 12 international civilians that have been abducted by Israeli forces is precisely because our governments have been allowing Israel to massacre Palestinians, to ethnically cleanse Palestinians, starve them, not just for 2 years, for decades without doing anything. We took to the seas to try to break an unlawful siege, and Israel used unlawful force to intercept us. We are concerned for the safety and well-being of our colleagues, but we also are drawing the eyes and attention of the world on what is happening in Gaza. That is the situation that the world needs to urgently intervene to stop. It is unacceptable that a country, a rogue country that is on trial for genocide like Israel, is able to determine who and what can get into Gaza, especially when it comes to humanitarian aid that can help people survive. And so our colleagues were at sea doing this. We are urging others to join us because we are not going to stop. Right now, we're focused on making sure our colleagues are okay. I will repeat, they have been abducted, taken against their will from international waters, and are in others to join us because we are not going to stop. Right now, we're focused on making sure our colleagues are okay. I will repeat, they have been abducted, taken against their will from international waters and are in the custody of a brutal and unlawful rogue state like Israel. And we are taken against their will from international waters and are in the custody of a brutal and unlawful rogue state like Israel. And we are asking
ship carrying activists. Coming up next, the latest on a ship carrying activists, including Greta Thunberg, to Gaza. It had hoped to reach the enclave this weekend, but was delayed after rescuing a group of migrants at sea. The crew of the Madeleine intervened when local authorities said that they were too far away to respond to the Mayday call. The ship has attracted controversy and warnings over its safety. Joining me now is Thiago Avila, who is one of the activists aboard that boat. Hello there to you, Thiago. Can you give us an idea of where you currently are and how long it's going to take you to get to Gaza?
Yes, thank you so much for having me here. I'm Thiago Avila, steering committee member of the Flotilla coalition, and we are right now 280 miles away from Gaza on our journey to break the siege and to create a people's humanitarian corridor. It's been 7 days of our journey so far, and we expect to reach Gaza by Monday.
OK, so you've done the bulk of the journey. And just tell us, Thiago, what have you got on board? What are you taking as part of this humanitarian assistance?
We are now a small boat carrying 12 people from 7 different countries, and we're carrying food, medicine, water filters, prosthetics for amputated children, and crutches who are forbidden by the illegal siege of 18 years that Israel imposed on Gaza, part of a genocide and ethnic cleansing of 8 decades. We're carrying most of all a small vessels who are forbidden by the illegal siege of 18 years that Israel imposed on Gaza, part of a genocide and ethnic cleansing of 8 decades. We're carrying most of all a small vessel, but to open a people's humanitarian corridor, but we're carrying the hope of humanity. Millions and billions of people are cheering for us right now, because if we open a humanitarian corridor, then the big ships can come and bring the food that people desperately need.
Right, so what you're actually carrying is really a drop in the ocean, isn't it, to what people in Gaza need? But so really it's a symbolic mission rather than a humanitarian one.
It's a humanitarian mission, but there's a very concrete effort to be bigger than what we are. So unless we open this humanitarian corridor, that mission should not even exist, should have been done by governments, by international institutions. But since they are failing, we are doing this for them and for humanity as a whole. We know that we can't wait for them to get a permission from the ones who are committing a genocide. So we need to do this ourselves. And it's not symbolic because I'm sure the aid here will save lives. But it is, of course, a drop in the ocean. Like, even if we had 3 big cargo ships here, like we had last year, and they stalled us through bureaucratic warfare, still would not be enough. We had a big vessel last month that was bombed by Israel. 2 Israeli drones bombed our boat. It still was not enough because Gaza needs more than 1,400 trucks entering Gaza per day. But because of the siege, only 500 were entering per day. And now for 1 year, 9 months, almost nothing was entering. The last 90 days, almost nothing entered. Almost not a single bag of flour, a single bottle of water. So we're going on. It's most desperately needed.
But you will well know, Thiago, that Israel doesn't want you there.
Days, almost nothing entered. Almost not a single bag of flour, a single bottle of water. So we're going on. It's most desperately needed.
But you will well know, Thiago, that Israel doesn't want you there. Are you prepared for all eventualities, potentially a naval blockade and potential drone attack once you enter Israeli waters?
Yes, we are, because we've been trying to break.
Are you prepared for all eventualities, potentially a naval blockade and potential drone attack once you enter Israeli waters?
Yes, we are, because we've been trying to break the siege for 17 years in the Freedom Flotilla Coalition. And we train all of our participants in nonviolent direct action, because this is a humanitarian mission, nonviolent mission. So we train our participants to respond nonviolently in any circumstance, even the case of most extreme violence that they can use against us. We also train emergency procedures in how to evacuate the ship, how to deal if they start shooting at us. Unfortunately, we are doing with a rogue state that does not respect international law, and we need to prepare ourselves. But the biggest safety measure that we can have is visibility. It's visibility from people that mobilize states to help us, to demand a safe passage, and even to join us, but we cannot wait for them. So we are going anyway, and we do not ask for the permission of Israel because we are in international waters, which is not their jurisdiction. And when we enter Gaza, we'll be entered through Palestinian territorial waters, which is not Israel's to claim.
But Thiago, you say that you're part of a non-violent mission. Israel will say that your ship contains a number of crew who are actively hostile towards the Israeli state, including you.
Yes, they've been saying this for 17 years. They've been saying that all of our mission that carries food and medicine for those who desperately need, they say they carry weapons. And all the time when they intercept us, they have to admit that we only carry humanitarian aid. All the time through Palestinian territory.
Ed eccoci arrivati a Flamingo Beach.
Gaza will be entered through Palestinian territorial waters, which is not Israel's to claim.
I'm probably the only person online who shares every single one of my trades completely for free.
Gaza will be entered through Palestinian territorial waters, which is not Israel's to claim.
But Thiago, you say that you're part of a non-violent mission. Israel will say that your ship contains a number of crew who are actively hostile towards the Israeli state, including you.
Yes, they've been saying this for 17 years. They've been saying that all of our mission that carries food and medicine for those who desperately need, they say they carry weapons. And all the time when they intercept us, they have to admit that we only carry humanitarian aid. All the time they've been saying the same lies about hospitals that have bombs inside, or tunnels below, or residential areas that have weapons, or children that are military targets. But the world does not believe their lies anymore. They finally
Thiago, it's not a lie, though, to say that you attended the funeral of the Hezbollah leader, Nasrallah, and you said that you were honoured to be there. Now, as you know, Hezbollah is a proscribed terrorist group.
Communicator like yourself.
The funeral of the Hezbollah leader, Nasrallah, and you said that you were honoured to be there. Now, as you know, Hezbollah is a proscribed terrorist group.
Communicator like yourself.
Attended the funeral of the Hezbollah leader, Nasrallah, and you said that you were honoured to be there. Now, as you know, Hezbollah is a proscribed terrorist group.
Communicator like yourself. Whenever I'm invited to the communicator like yourself. Whenever I'm invited, I will go and I've seen the destruction that the Israelis have been doing in Lebanon. And for me, communicator like yourself. Whenever I'm invited, I will go and I've seen the destruction that the Israelis have been doing in Lebanon.
Till this incident occurred.
The crew of a ship trying to sail into Gaza, telling them to turn around now or face the country's military. Middle East correspondent Matthew Doran is in Jerusalem.
A week ago, the Freedom Flotilla and its ship, the Madeleine, set sail from Sicily bound for Gaza, carrying some aid for the war-ravaged strip. It's crewed by a group of humanitarian campaigners, including Greta Thunberg, who want to break Israel's aid blockade of Gaza by sea as the military continues to restrict aid entering the territory by land. And as the ship edges closer, the rhetoric from the Israeli government is sharpening. The country's defense minister, Israel Katz, taking to social media to issue an ominous warning. Israel Katz said he had instructed the IDF to prevent the, quote, Madeleine hate flotilla from reaching Gaza and to take whatever measures necessary to stop the ship, saying to the anti-Semitic Greta and her fellow Hamas propaganda spokespeople that they should turn back because they will not reach Gaza. Greta Thunberg has previously rejected allegations she's anti-Semitic and returned serve on Instagram, insisting the campaign is not about the ship or the crew, saying it's about the genocide, blockade and systematic oppression of Palestinians. Israel has denied allegations of genocide in the Strip. As the ship sailed off the coast of Egypt, its crew accused Israel of disrupting its GPS trackers, showing the vessel was on land at Jordan's main airport. GPS scrambling or spoofing is a frequent tactic employed by Israel during its war in Gaza, and it was also used at the height of fighting between Israel and the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah last year. Even here in Jerusalem, in the ABC's bureau, occasionally our phones would say that we were at Amman International Airport, about 70 kilometres that way, or even in Beirut. The Israeli media is reporting that the Israeli military plans to seize the Madeleine and arrest and deport its crew after taking the ship to the port of Ashdod, just north of Gaza. Last month, another ship chartered by the Freedom Flotilla was, according to the crew, attacked by drones off the coast of Malta, the group pointing the finger at Israel, which hasn't commented on the attack. Israeli authorities insist enough aid is being brought into Gaza, with another 350 trucks delivering. The group pointing the finger at Israel, which hasn't commented on the attack. Israeli authorities insist enough aid is being brought into Gaza, with another 350 trucks delivering supplies through the Kerem Shalom crossing last week. But humanitarian agencies insist it's too few deliveries to really make a difference after Israel's total blockade of Gaza ran for 11 weeks, a decision Israel said was necessary to try to pressure Hamas into releasing the remaining Israeli hostages still held captive in the Strip.
Freedom Flotilla says the Israeli army has boarded its vessel. The video from the activist social media account shows the last moment on board before connection was lost. The Navy had previously ordered the ship, which was on its way to bring aid to Gaza, to turn around. In a pre-recorded video, Thunberg is calling for international pressure for her release.
If you see this video, we have been intercepted and kidnapped in international waters by the Israeli occupational forces or forces that support Israel. I urge
Aid to Gaza to turn around. In a pre-recorded video, Thunberg is calling for international pressure for her release.
If you see this video, we have been intercepted and kidnapped in international waters by the Israeli occupational forces or forces that support Israel. I urge all my friends, family and comrades to put pressure on the Swedish government to release me and the others as soon as possible.
Democracy depends on a free press. Please support our independent journalism at democracynow.org/give. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. As Gaza faces more than 3 months of a near-total Israeli blockade, activists are heading there now on a ship to deliver humanitarian aid. The boat is called the Madeleine, named after Gaza's first fisherwoman, who ran her father's fishing business after he was injured in a 2009 Israeli attack. The Freedom Flotilla Coalition initially planned to sail from Malta last month, but their ship was damaged after it was bombed by drones in international waters. At Sunday's launch of the Madeleine from the Italian port of Catania, actor Liam Cunningham, known for his role in the series Game of Thrones, spoke out in support of the effort.
My name is Liam, I'm from Ireland. The reason I'm here, as far as I'm concerned, the heart and soul of humanity is in Gaza. For me, this attack, this genocide, is not just on Palestinians, it is on the whole human race. These wonderful, brave people who are setting off on this boat are heroes. And also, the people of Gaza, for the last 600 days, are heroes. They are, in my mind, they will. This genocide is not just on Palestinians, it is on the whole human race. These wonderful, brave people who are setting off on this boat are heroes. And also, the people of Gaza, for the last 600 days, are heroes. They are, in my mind, they will always be heroes.
A group of 12 activists are carrying the...
Also, the people of Gaza, for the last 600 days, are heroes. They are, in my mind, they will always be heroes. People of Gaza, for the last 600 days, are heroes. They are in my mind. They will always be heroes. They are in my mind. They will always be heroes.
A group of 12 activists are carrying the aid for Gaza, including the Swedish activist Greta Thunberg, who will join us from the Madeleine ship in a minute. She spoke Sunday at the launch.
A month after our latest attempt to go on with this mission, the boat was bombed twice. All evidence suggests Israel. And we are doing this because we have to keep our promise to the Palestinians to do everything in our power to protest against the genocide and to try to open up a humanitarian corridor.
Since setting sail, passengers on the flotilla have faced many threats, including from U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, who wrote on X, quote, "Hope Greta and her friends can swim," unquote. The Gaza Freedom Flotilla has also been shadowed by at least one military helicopter and have reported drones circulating the ship. This is Thiago Avila.
Hello, everyone. This is a new alert. We can clearly see a drone right now to our left. It's gaining on us a little bit. Please share this alert. Second alert of the night. The third day of our journey to Gaza to break the siege and create a people's humanitarian corridor on board the Madeleine. Please share our location. We'll be sending the exact coordinates.
In 2010, Israel conducted a deadly raid on another Gaza-bound aid ship, the Mavi Marmara. Israeli commandos stormed the boat in international waters, killing 9 people. A 10th died after 4 years in a coma. For more, we're joined from the international waters by Greta Thunberg, the internationally renowned Swedish climate activist known for inspiring the global youth climate strike. In 2019, she received the Right Livelihood Award. She's also been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Greta is speaking to us aboard the Gaza Freedom Flotilla's vessel Madeleine, which is on this voyage from Sicily to Gaza, again carrying life-saving aid in an attempt to break Israel's siege of the Gaza Strip. Greta, it's really something to see you on that ship right now. Can you tell us why you're taking this journey, extremely dangerous, and how you're planning to challenge the Israeli blockade?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, as you said, we are doing this mission following 1 month after our last attempt. Both Conscience was bombed and disabled. So that's why we are trying again. because we cannot afford to give up. There is simply too much at stake. And in times of injustice, as we are seeing now, the genocide and blockade happening, we have to do everything we can to demand an end to these atrocities and war crimes committed by Israel. And for me personally, I happen to have a platform for some reason, and then it is my moral obligation to use that platform. And if my presence on this boat can make a difference, if that can show in any way that the world has not forgotten about Palestine, and to try once again to attempt to break the siege and open up the humanitarian corridor and deliver the extremely needed humanitarian aid, then that is a risk I'm willing to take, and it's something that we just simply have to do. We cannot just sit around and do nothing and watch this live stream genocide unfold in front of our very eyes. So we are doing this because we are human beings who care about justice. And when our complicit governments fail to step up, it falls on us, unfortunately, to do so.
And Greta, could you talk about how you see the issue of Palestinian freedom connecting to or intersecting with the issue that you're best known for, which is climate change activism?
Yeah, for me, there's no way of distinguishing the two. We cannot have climate justice without social justice. The reason why I am a climate activist is not because I want to protect trees. I'm a climate activist because I care about human and planetary well-being, and those are extremely interlinked. For example, when we see the genocide in Gaza, of course, there are some very obvious links that ecocide, environmental destruction, is a very common method used in war and to oppress people. But also, it should be much simpler than that. No matter what the cause of the suffering is, whether that is CO2, whether that is bombs, whether that is state repression or other forms of violence, we have to stand up against that source of suffering. If we pretend to care about the environment, if we pretend to care about the climate and our children's future without seeing and acknowledging and fighting against the suffering of all marginalized people today, then that is an extremely racist approach to justice that excludes the majority of the world's population.
And how? What is the mood aboard the ship? You have participants from Brazil, France, Germany, Spain, and you yourself are Swedish. What's the mood there?
The mood on board the ship is, I would say, that our spirits are very high and we are very determined to continue. So far, we have won over one of the major predicted obstacles, which is to be stuck in port due to the bureaucratic warfare that has been very strong, especially in the past. And the fact that we have gotten over that and that we are out sailing now and that we have gotten quite a far bit is already a victory in itself. Of course, this mission includes many risks, and we have done many risk assessments. But of course, we deem the risk of silence and the risk of inaction to be so much more deadly than this mission, of course. And we are 12 peaceful volunteers who are not carrying weapons. We are carrying food, medical supplies, and sanitary products and other very needed humanitarian aid into Gaza following the blockade. We will meet whatever is thrown at us with non-violence in any scenario. So we are trying to prepare and to maximize our safety and the success of this mission as much as we can.
Greta, as you attempt to bring in baby formula, medical kits, flour, prosthetics for kids with amputations, the Israeli military has threatened to block the Freedom Flotilla. The Israeli army says it's prepared to raid your ship. We know what happened to the Mavi Marmara with the Israeli raid and the killing of 9 activists on board. Ultimately, a 10th died. So are you seeing drones? How are you prepared to deal?
Yeah, we are seeing drones. Last night, there were 2 different moments where there were drones circulating above us. And we have safety procedures that we will use. And we have different scenarios that we are prepared for to try to maximize our safety in a non-violent way. So we are trying to do our very best. And it shows quite a bit that peaceful volunteers who are carrying humanitarian aid and necessary for survival is being threatened to be raided, intercepted, or attacked. I think that says quite a lot about the priorities and approaches of Israel right now. But we must also remember that this mission is not about us. It is not about the voyage or the people on board. This mission is about Palestine. It is about the genocide, the occupation, ethnic cleansing, and the other methods of war and oppression that are being used by Israel against the Palestinians. And we do not only need humanitarian aid to be let into Gaza. We do not only need a ceasefire. We need an end to the occupation.
How do you plan to break the military blockade around Gaza?
Sorry, what did you say?
How do you plan to break the military blockade around Gaza?
We are planning to continue sailing until we cannot sail anymore. It is very difficult to predict what scenario it will be, but as far as we know, we are planning to continue as we are now.
And what is your message to folks around the world, especially to young people who throughout the advanced countries seem to have much more interest and dedication to ending the war in Gaza?
My message is that right now, international law is failing us. International institutions, our governments are failing us. Media, our companies are all failing us. Or failing us is a diplomatic way of saying that our system seems to be designed in a way that is built upon exploitation and oppression of people. And so there's no one to turn to. There's no one we can turn to rescue the situation. But it falls on us to step up, to continue flooding the streets, to continue organizing, boycotting, to speak up on all platforms, to try to send a clear message that we will not stand for what is happening right now.
According to Al Jazeera, Greta, they're saying, according to flight radar, which tracks aircraft movements, an Israel-made Hellenic Coast Guard drone, IAI Heron UAV, hovered over the Madeleine ship. The drone's deployment was confirmed by the Greek Ministry of Defense. We're speaking to you from the United States, where the South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham wrote on X, "Hope Greta and her friends can swim." Your response?
We can swim.
South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham wrote on X, "Hope Greta and her friends can swim." Your response?
We can swim very well. It says a lot about the
Ministry of Defense. We're speaking to you from the United States, where the South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham wrote on X, "Hope Greta and her friends can swim." Your response?
We can swim very well. It says a lot about their priorities that in the face of genocide and systematic...
Your response?
We can swim very well. It says a lot about their priorities that in the face of genocide and systematic starvation of 2 million people, lawmakers, elected officials whose responsibility it should be to serve the people and to protect the people, that they, rather than ending their complicity in genocide and the mass slaughtering of civilians, are focusing on mocking people who are at least trying to do their bits. I think that says everything we need to know about their priorities.
And finally, your message to Palestinians who perhaps have read about or heard about your voyage or awaiting your arrival. What is your message to them?
My message to them would be that we stand behind you in every step of the way. We are standing in solidarity with you. We see you. And I am also my deepest apologies on behalf of the outside world, especially the Western world, that we continue to betray you and that more people are not stepping up. But I promise that at least we here will try our very best to stand up for you as well. And to support you in your struggle.
Greta, we wish you all safety. Greta Thunberg, internationally renowned Swedish climate activist who inspired the global youth climate strike. She's won the Right Livelihood Award, has also been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, was speaking to us aboard the Gaza Freedom Flotilla's vessel Madeleine, which is on a voyage from Sicily to Gaza carrying life-saving aid in an